build an entire city on top of a mountain nearly 8,000 feet above sea level. No modern machines, no steel, no concrete, just stone. Determination in one of the greatest civilizations in human history. Then imagine that city disappearing from the outside world for nearly 400 years. Today we're talking about Machu Picchu, the legendary lost city above the clouds. But was it really lost? Why was it built in such an impossible location? And what secrets are archaeologists still trying to uncover? That's the main question. So, high in the Andes Mountains of Peru sits on one of the most breathtaking places on earth. Machu Picchu, right? Rests about 2,430 meters or nearly 8,000 feet above sea level, surrounded by steep cliffs and often wrapped in clouds, right? From a distance, it almost looks like the mountains themselves grew like into a city. But look, the site was built during the height of the Inca Empire during the mid-1400s. Most likely under the rule of the empire of the Machu Picchu, one of the greatest leaders in Inca history, right? But here's what makes it so incredible. The Incas didn't have iron tools. They didn't use wheel for construction. No. They had no horses to carry heavy stone. No, not at all. Yet somehow they built one of the greatest engineering masterpieces the world has ever seen. Look closely at the walls of Machu Picchu. The stones fit together so perfectly that in many places you can't even slide a knife blade between them. No cement, no mortar, just perfectly carved blocks locked together like a giant puzzle. This technique wasn't just beautiful, it made the buildings remarkably resistant to earthquakes. When the ground shook, the stones could shift slightly and then settle back into place instead of collapsing. More than 500 years later, many of those walls are still standing. That's engineering far ahead of its time. Even more impressive is what you don't immediately see. Archaeologists estimate that a huge portion of the work at Machu Picchu went into preparing the mountain itself, building foundations, drainage systems, and terraces to stabilize the site against heavy rain and landslides. Oh, think about that. So why choose such an impossible location? Here's why. That's one of the history's biggest mysteries, right? Some historians believe Machu Picchu served as a royal estate where the emperor and his court could retreat. Others think there was a sacred religious center connected to astronomy. The city contains temples, ceremonial plazas, agricultural terraces, and structures that appear carefully aligned with the surrounding mountains and the movements of the sun. The famous Intihuatana stone, often translated as the hitching post of the sun, is thought to have played an important role in Inca ceremonies and observations of the heavens, although its exact purpose remains uncertain. Whatever its primary purpose, Machu Picchu clearly combined religion, engineering, agriculture, and astronomy into one extraordinary place. Here's another mystery. Machu Picchu wasn't occupied for centuries. Evidence suggests it was inhabited for only around 80 to 100 years before being abandoned during an upheaval caused by the Spanish conquest of the Inca Empire. Interestingly, Spanish conquistadors, right, never destroyed Machu Picchu because they apparently never found it. Hidden deep within the mountains and surrounded by dense forests, the city slowly disappeared beneath vegetation while the outside world forgot it existed. In 1911, American explorer Hiram Bingham, right, was led to the ruins by local farmers who already knew of the site's existence, right? And then, although people often say he discovered Machu Picchu, that's not entirely accurate, right? The local communities had never forgotten it. What Bingham did was introduce the site to the wider international world, making it one of the archaeologists' most famous discoveries. Since then, Machu Picchu has become one of the world's most recognizable archaeological sites and was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1983. Even after more than a century of research, Machu Picchu continues to raise questions. Was it a royal palace, a sacred pilgrimage center, an astronomical observatory, or all of those things combined? Every stone, every terrace, every temple reminds us that the Inca civilization possessed extraordinary knowledge of architecture, engineering, and the natural world. Standing above the clouds, surrounded by towering mountains, it's easy to understand why so many people consider Machu Picchu one of the greatest wonders ever built. Maybe the most fascinating part isn't that the city was hidden. It's that a civilization without modern technology created something so advanced that we're still trying to fully understand it today. Look, if you enjoyed uncovering the mystery of Machu Picchu, make sure to subscribe because we've got more incredible ancient mysteries coming next, from lost civilizations to forgotten empires and archaeological discoveries that continue to challenge what we think we know about history. And remember, sometimes the greatest secrets in history aren't buried underground. They're waiting for us above the clouds.